The web developer, also work with exams a little bit.
Right. So you might be wondering why we put the chocolate out out there. Well, first of all, we promised a lot of people there would be candy to bribe people, but also we picked the Reese's peanut butter cups for a very specific reason. It's two great tastes that taste great together: peanut butter and chocolate. And that's what Drupal is, a content management system. It is content, all this great, sexy content, news, information, updates. It's management systems. It's giving you power control, bending the world to your will. So Drupal brings these two things together. And now you can appreciate why content management systems are so desirable. There is the model where you have a core of IT people and they manage just about everything on the web presence. Financial aid, career services, admissions, they're all sending content to the IT people and they're managing it. And that works. But when you start having such a large and diverse web presence, the micromanagement starts to go crazy. So being able to give people a little bits of control over, just keep the RSS feed running, make sure the new admissions page, make sure the new admitted students know where they're going. And that's what Drupal really enables you to do. Oh, and that and a ton of other things, but it's not the most simple system in the world, I think some people who have experience with Drupal will say. Now, the big black box full of Drupal comes from our experience dealing with Drupal. And it wasn't the process like, we're going to sit down, we're going to evaluate, we're going to look at the different distributions, and we're going to install this from the ground up. It's going to be wonderful and beautiful. Not so much. Imagine this scenario, perhaps. You don't know that much about Drupal. You know some CMS stuff. You've heard it talked about by all the cool people. But you don't know the breadth and depth of it all. You need to perform a relatively simple task with Drupal. You need to make a web page. You need to edit a page. You need to add a cool new feature like a content carousel or a video gallery or just a tally system, a vote system. You have no idea how. Where's the HTML? Where's the code I can manipulate? There's this weird level of obfuscation between me and what I want to do. And you can't break anything while doing this. My first instinct with a lot of things is to hack. Let's get to the gore and guts and let's tweak it to make everything work. And mostly it works, but one of the core tenets with Drupal, and we can keep hammering away at this, is don't hack core. Now, maybe this is about the time we should say why we decided to talk about jumping into Drupal head first, knowing a little. And I'll let Leslie talk because she has a little bit more seniority.
Well, I do have more seniority, but I don't have a ton more Drupal experience. But a little under 2 years ago, the University of Georgia School of Law's website was a whole bunch of static HTML and a whole bunch of Perl scripts. And see some smiles back there. I love Perl, and I was used to doing it. And our staff, they were used to HTML. They had their favorite editors. It wasn't too bad, but it was a really huge site. And the dean saw a commercial content management system that she really liked. And so I and my coworkers made an argument for an open source one, and so we got Drupal. But we hired an outside developer to do the design, because we don't have a designer on staff. Anyway, bottom line is they handed us this website and said, there you go, there's your Drupal site. So that's where I'm coming from. And, I'm a command line girl, and I just wasn't really used to all these buttons and things, so I resisted, but I've finally come to embrace it anyhow. And then we have Jason.
And I am coming up on my 9-month anniversary at the University of Georgia, so I am very, very new, and I'm just now starting to really get my wrap my head around all things Drupal. I'm like, it's something we harp on, like, where is this hiding? I want to change that bit. Where is it, and why can't I get to it? But
yeah. And Jason's also a librarian, so we all wear different hats. And
the library, my library hat is a very goofy one. So, here's what we're going to assume, just because lay the baseline, and if it starts to look wonky, we'll explain that later. You're running Linux and Apache. I think they're Rutgers. Actually, someone here, I think it was the last presentation, they were running on Microsoft and Apache, which was kind of weird, but this is the baseline for a lot of Drupal sites. You're running MySQL as your database. Fairly standard. Although I just heard Drupal 7 has Oracle support, which I thought was kind of neat. You're working with Drupal 6. Been around for a while. Drupal 7 is out now. It's got some really nice features in it, but it hasn't been widely adopted yet. So we're going to assume the baseline, Drupal 6.
Yeah. And could we do a little quick survey? Oh, yeah, this is important. Sorry.
Yes. Because as fun as it is to break things and figure it out as you put them back together, I love doing that myself. But you're maintaining the web presence for an institution of higher education, and it's a very measured appearance. Then you do not want don't want margins all the way out in the middle of nowhere, missing text. You cannot view this content. Not acceptable.
Yeah.
But
quick survey though. So who in the audience is running a Drupal site currently at their university? Very good. Okay, cool. And is anybody running Drupal 7 yet for a production site? Good. We made the right choice then, because not talking about Drupal 7 will save us a lot of time. We have a lot to go through.
And just my personal question, is anyone not running Drupal at all, but kind of curious about adding it?
Okay, cool. Not off the top of my head. Does anybody? Okay, we'll talk about that later, maybe.
It's possible. It is. Yeah.
Okay,
They're running it in
cool.
non-production. That's great. Actually.
Right. And there we go.
Yeah, if you're curious, the presentation right before this, they were running IIS, so that might be something worth reviewing. Anyway, continuing. Good news, everybody. Fortunately enough, you don't need to know everything about Drupal. There is a lot of content that simply does not apply to institutions of higher education, law schools, etc. Fortunately, you do need to know why, though. There is a ton of features in Drupal that is designed around providing user-generated content, being able to blog, being able to comment, tag. That's great stuff, and Drupal, I've seen Drupal used for everything from video games to bands to big corporate.
The White House, we've all seen that.
Yep. But I don't know if you want to have blogging and commenting enabled when the tuition rises. That's just a mess.
Yeah.
That's something you don't want to see. That's a can of worms that's best left canned. Did I have an idea? And like I said, you want a controlled presence. There is a place for commenting, but it's something you need to carve out and be able to control. So while there are pieces of Drupal that we won't be addressing, it's good to know that they're there and why you don't need them. So we're going to be showing you a lot of screenshots and demonstrations and working through some of the basic stuff. But if you're seeing this and you have Drupal, or you end up installing Drupal, and it doesn't look exactly the same, that's normal. That's fine. Drupal is so customizable, and there are a couple distributions you might be thinking about that nothing might look the same. Fortunately for this presentation, we're going to be focusing on some of the core functionalities of Drupal, some of the most fundamental pieces, and some of the non-required pieces of Drupal that are just so widely embraced. They're considered best practices. So here's how the rest of this is going to run down. We're going to run through some of the really basic operations you have as a website manager, someone who's controlling your web presence. Making a new page, that's fairly straightforward. Also editing a page is part of that. modifying the look and feel, color schemes, margins, the placement of things, where you want your main content, how big your footer is, where your navigation bars are. Pretties, you might be thinking, oh, that's just a little CSS magic. That's part of it. There's so much more with Drupal. And then adding new functionality. Oh man, did you see that guy's, the 360 view and integrated the Flash? Oh, I want that. But normally, embed the little widget. Not with Drupal. We're going to be working with what they call modules and installing them and seeing how they work and all that fun stuff. Along the way, we're going to be defining some of the terms as Drupal understands it. When I say, we're going to make a new page, Drupal's like, you're going to make a node in content, right? Like, we're going to provide some of that translation for you. And the biggest thing, and this is what's really drove forward a lot of our planning when making this presentation, is where things hide. Because it really feels like Drupal hides its most important functionalities and pieces. And as soon as you understand, like, I need to change that menu bar, I know where that is. The heavens shine down, it's an epiphany, you feel we're hoping we can get you partway there with this presentation. And finally, inevitably things break. It's not going to be your fault, of course, but when it does, you need to be able to minimize the damage, find the best ways to fix the solution, maybe even minimize events of failure. Now, I'm going to let my esteemed colleague, Leslie, take it away.
All right. So, of course, before you get started, you need to log in so that Drupal knows who the heck you are. And on pretty much any website, in fact, I should say right now, if you have a laptop and you have a Drupal site and you want to follow along, like maybe you don't use it every day, you're not that familiar with it, but you have a login, please feel free to, and I'll be giving the links as we go along. So if you go to, and is the volume okay? Okay, good. If you go to /user, that'll get you to your website. Now, for the purposes of our little demo here, we've got a bare bones Drupal site. This is something that's a work in progress. We've got it set up to use LDAP authentication, which is awesome. And
note the left-hand menu.
Yep, little minimal left-hand menu. Anybody can see that. Anybody who's not logged in, that is. Now we're logged in, and we get some little extra bonus things here. So anyway, I'm basically just logging into the website here. Let's see. We also have our main web server set up so that prospective students can log into a little portal. But we'll be using that for editing purposes. Come on. All right. And so now on this one, and again, a Drupal 6 site looks completely different. You'll notice there's this menu up at the top for our little, and I think that was all right. And the menu up at the top, all the extra links that you see when you log in, what you see there depends on what kind of user you are and what permissions you have. And and let's talk for just a minute about users. According to Drupal, users are identified by user IDs. Here's like a tiny bit of the MySQL database. I guess I could use the laser pointer, huh? You'll see that we have this one user up here, 0, with no username. That's actually the anonymous user. Very important. Don't delete that, or you'll break things. The super user, number 1. Now that is, whoever set up your Drupal site. The very first person to log in and create an account on Drupal has like superpowers. So that's basically like root or your admin. The rest of the users get created in sequential order. They're assigned a user ID. You'll see here, it's all kind of looks random, but that's just because we've deleted some users. So, and the users have roles. Now this, let's see. Oh yeah, if you're following along with our demo and you go to this admin user roles page and you see a page not found, that would mean that you don't have permission to see it. So contact your website administrator and ask for more power. But basically the roles are defined groups of users, like you've got students or editors or administrators, people who can add content or do everything on your website. And Drupal's very granular in the control of who can do what. So here we have the roles, or at least some of the roles that we have on our website. And the roles are given permissions, at least in our case, that we assign the permissions only to roles. The permissions determine what each role can and cannot do. This permissions table is potentially huge, and this is just a part of one. And if you find that your page crashes when you're trying to view this, you might want to talk to your systems administrator, whoever is in charge of giving Drupal more memory on your web server, because that's a good test right there. Does Drupal have enough memory? So let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, the roles are across the top. Again, this module term, which we'll talk about later, the modules are listed down the left with each little granular control for permissions. Zooming in a little bit, we see this very important section called Node Module. We'll also be talking about nodes in a minute, another Drupalism. You'll notice that the two, I may not have clarified this before, there's two kinds of two roles that Drupal defines, out of the box. Anonymous users and authenticated users. And if you check both of those checkboxes, that encompasses everybody. So you actually don't have to check all the rest of the checkboxes, but anyway. And then you'll see that so everybody needs to access content. But then when it comes to creating content, deleting things, only the editors have permission to do that. Talking about creating content, the way our website is set up, we have just 1 billion content types. So if you go to your own website and go to Node Add, you can see a list of all the different content types that you might have going on there. And a node. Okay, what the heck is this node thing? A node is like a basic unit of content. In the database, a node has at least a title and a body. The body is where you would put your text or your HTML. And there are different types of nodes that have different additional fields and properties. And and a page on your website can display just one node or many nodes, and we'll get to that in a moment. So let's jump out for another little demo. And we're going to be looking at an extremely simple example of creating content. Okay, so on our demo site, you'll notice, I'm logged in. There's this little link that says Create Content. Okay, well, some of these content types come with Drupal by default, and we're actually not using them. So, but this one here, this looks like law school stuff. This is an assignment, so let's create. So does someone want to name a course, their favorite law course? Okay, contracts. Okay. You don't like that one. This split summary cursor, actually, we don't use that at all on our website. I'm seeing some head shaking. Okay. We can safely ignore that button. And let's just say read chapter 1.
With the myriad of functions you don't have to pay any mind to.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got our course, and we've got our assignment. That's awesome. We're going to save it. And awesome. That was easy. Okay. Sorry, just getting warmed up with the content creation. So that's a node, basically, what we just did. We created a node. And you can see, well, this is a different course, but in the database, we can go and look for it in the node revisions table. Not very intuitive, but that's where Drupal 6 puts it. And we can see the title and the body right there. Now, there's the whole concept of revisions. I'm just going to gloss over that because we're not really using that. But anyhow, so that's a node. And we're going to do a more realistic version of a page. You probably don't have pages that are quite that simple on your website. So let's go back to our development server. And while I'm hunting down the link I need, maybe Jason can tell you a fun fact about Drupal.
Fun facts about Drupal. Oh, boy. Actually, I'm going to go with one off the list.
Oh, okay.
But the original name for Drupal was going to be Dorp. But the developer misspelled it while registering the domain name and appreciated the misspelling more than the original. And I believe Dorp is, what is the language?
Is it Dutch? Does someone know? Yeah.
I think it was, Dorp is Dutch for community.
Okay, so that was our fun Drupal fact.
Okay, sorry.
We'll find out later. Yay! Okay, go Jason. All right, so we're on this page. Simple web page to look at. I mean, as far as compared to other web pages, you know. And so then we go to this edit button.
And we're going to make some fictional students very happy right now.
So we'll just change tuition. So you'll notice there's like a whole lot of fields here. That's probably more common for what you're going to see on your site. So let's go to this little section here. And I'll tell you what, I'll just update the year. Let's do that.
Making our fictional students cry.
I'm sorry. No change in tuition. All right, so we'll save that. Okay. Again, just super simple example in case you haven't seen Drupal before. Well, this one's not so simple, but okay. Yeah, so what we just looked at contained what they call a WYSIWYG. We're currently using one called TinyMCE, which I would not recommend, actually. It seems to have some issues, and I don't think it's even being supported anymore. And the new one that everybody seems to be using now is the Ckeditor. So if you don't have a WYSIWYG and you need to give some staff control to enter content, you might want to look at Ckeditor. TinyMCE. Okay, good. Okay, good. I'm not sure about the Drupal module, but yeah, so that's another good one to look at. And if all else fails, you'll notice there's an HTML button right there. You can just click and get to edit the actual HTML.
For those of us who can't give up HTML tags.
So, okay, we learned about nodes. Nodes are great, but there's a lot of other stuff on the web page besides this one little section here that we see when we click the edit button. So how do we get to all of that stuff? Well, not a very good segue, but themes. So themes control the look and feel of your site. And in addition, the theme also will determine the basic structure of your pages. And, oh, great, you're following along.
So suppose you change a theme without changing the contents.
Themes control, what is this? Okay, that's not very useful. So be very cautious when you're changing a theme. Or you might end up with that.
And an angry theme. Who wants that?
Yeah. So you can find out what your default theme is if you go to admin build themes. It's possible you have a different theme enabled for all the content that's behind /admin, or for your content editors, they can have it on a different theme also. But the default one, you see the button is checked there for default. Anyway, you can just take a look at all the themes on your site that are installed by default with Drupal, and probably not use any of them. So, Best practices for themes. So your custom theme that your website probably uses is a collection of specially named files, and it's stored like in whatever your document root is for your web server, and then cites all themes, and then the name of the theme, which should not have hyphens in it at all. That's a problem. I think underscores are okay, but not hyphens. The theme engine is the Drupal code that processes these files and knows what to do with it. Your theme probably uses the PHP template engine. That's like just the most popular one. And if you haven't chosen a theme yet, I would recommend choosing one that uses the PHP template engine, because I think you'll find a lot more support on the web for that kind of theme.
Slightly ironic. A lot of these screenshots were taken from a theme without PHP.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we're going to change that after this conference. Core themes, again, do not have core. The themes that live like in just the /themes directory should be left alone. Don't be tempted to edit those. But let's look at one. So this is basically the directory for Garland, which is the default theme in Drupal 6. So y'all have it, and you can go and look at it in your root directory /themes. As each theme is in its own little directory, and there are just a whole bunch of files in each directory. And the files are just wildly different from theme to theme, I've noticed. So, but the basics, the essentials, like if you were going to write your own theme, the only thing you really have to have is a .info file and a style.css. And anyway, but most themes will also have a bunch of template files. Now, template files are, it's basically just PHP.
With a dash of HTML?
Yes, lots of HTML in there. And the main template file that controls, that defines the content of the page is going to be your page.tpl.php. Let's just say page template file. Okay. So let's take a quick look at that. It's huge, so we can't fit it all on the slide, but I just wanted to point out a couple little variables that all of your page template files will know about. Like, we have this one variable left. What's that about? That is actually a region of your page that the theme has defined for you. So this theme, Garland, knows about a left region. And if you are, maybe it'll make more sense in a second here. There's some regions. So this is actually a Drupal 7 theme, but Drupal 7 has this lovely block region demonstration, so I wanted to show you this. So everything in yellow there is a region. So you could have like 3, or you could have a lot. It just depends on the theme. And then, so what about, okay, we see kind of how the regions might be defined. There's stuff on the left, there's stuff on the right. And so how do you get the content into the regions? Blocks are just pieces of content, basically. You can
little mini nodes.
They're not nodes, but they also have a title, and they're pieces of content that can be displayed in one of these regions. If you want to see which blocks you have available on your site, go to admin build block. You'll notice here we have, this is on our demo site, we only have 2 blocks enabled. And there's all these blocks that don't have a region to live in. So these little homeless blocks that came with Drupal by default, like we probably don't want it powered by Drupal.
If you're proud, you might. But
you might. You could. Anyway, you just enable it if you like it. But okay, this is a really bad segue. But here's the administration menu, which actually this is not a block. Okay, this is
a cool piece of functionality.
A cool piece of functionality that we might want to add to our site.
And normally, when I first saw that, I was thinking, wow, that's a bunch of funny CSS right there. I wonder what that looks like. So started trying to hunt down the CSS file and couldn't find a whole heck of a lot. And that's when Leslie and everyone showed me modules.
Okay, so modules, basically it's a collection of specially named files. Again, we can go to the web server and look at them. Your core modules, again, don't hack core, live in your document root /modules. There's a bunch of them that you'll get with Drupal by default. And then let's look at an example here. We're looking at the profile module. I don't know why I picked that one. But you'll see all these different files within that directory. Key ones to pay attention to are the .info and .module. The .module is all the code. And the .info is like a little text file that you have to have for Drupal to know about your module. So really, again, if you wanted to write your own module, you could do it with just those two files.
And that's not entirely uncommon. And in a previous presentation, someone had mentioned sometimes you have a module and it's a roundish peg and you've got a circular hole. And to get it in there, you might have to write mini modules to get it all working together.
I think I followed that. All right. Working with modules. Again, we've got the core modules included in the Drupal installation and contributed modules written by folks in the Drupal community. You can get them from Drupal.org. I recommend selecting modules that are popular and actively maintained and stick them in Sites All modules. All right. One more little demo.
This is actually a pretty big demo.
Oh, this is the big demo. We're going to install a module.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we need some more fun Drupal facts.
Drupal facts. And I don't know how much. I think these are air quotes facts. What do we got here? Drupal's hook system leverages the little-known tilde operator, allowing it to match two variables that seem kind of similar. Well, that's
I'll
a
draw
really
that real
lame
quick.
joke.
It's 3 tildes. So
Wow.
I don't know if that's true or false.
No, there's no way.
Yeah. Okay. That's good for the moment. So let's look at Drupal.org and.
Bringing some levity to CALI.
Sure, we got it. So we'll know. Okay, this is our administration menu module, and we'll notice that it's actively maintained. That's great. There's a whole bunch of sites using this module. Okay, that looks good. And we'll scroll down. We want to get the recommended release. And we want to get Drupal 6, and we want the tar file because we've got a Linux server, and that's what we're used to.
But it's also zip.
Yes. So, and then, all right, awesome. We downloaded our module. So let's pretend like I did something fancy with revision control system or something, and now it's on our web server, or just SCP it to your web server, however you get files from place to place, or do a wget, or whatever. Lots of choices. Okay, so now we have this admin menu it's actually in my home directory. Where do we need to go? We need to go to Sites All Modules, which is where our contributed and custom modules live. I didn't like that. Oh, I didn't put the HTML in. Deep. All right. So here's our custom and contributed modules, the ones we downloaded, the ones we're messing with. And you'll notice, okay, so I've untarred and unzipped and moved the admin menu. Let's just look at admin menu for a second. Oops. Awesome. Okay, it's got all these files in it. It's got a .module file. You can read the README text. But basically, once you've moved it to that directory, you are pretty much good to go. So we're still logged into this little site. You know, this site could use an administration menu, I think. So let's. Unfortunately, I have to log in as admin. Might be time for another fun fact.
Oh boy, I dig this part of the presentation, ladies and gentlemen. The name of Drupal's popular CCK module was inspired by the Bantu word for deeply nested arrays. Now you know.
Oh, it doesn't like my admin password. Oh, no.
Do we need more fun Drupal facts, Leslie?
Maybe just
I think
one
we do.
more.
If current growth trends continue, Drupal version 15 will power 114% of all sites on the internet. WordPress will power the other 971%.
Okay, thank you. We're there. All right, so if you want to see which modules are installed on your web server, you just go to admin build modules. And hey, guess what? We got the administration menu now. I promise that wasn't there before. Okay, so we're going to enable it. And scrolly, save configuration. And now we've got an administration menu. So it's that easy sometimes. All right.
Sometimes not, unfortunately. There we go. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, no, thank you.
We're running ahead of schedule. I think we can squeeze that in.
No, we're running behind schedule. I'm sorry. We don't have time for that. So, okay. So, yeah, another one of these modules that you'll hear about a lot, that's a must-have module, is views. And the views interface is, well, there's some helpful tips. If you go to admin build views and look at the help, you'll get this illustration here. It takes some getting used to.
This will make you cry.
No, we don't really have time to get into it right now, but it's incredibly useful, I promise. And it's a real simple way of thinking about it is that you can use the views module to create lists of nodes. And then refine which nodes you want and just pretty much anything about them. So, simple way of looking at it. Is there time for one more demo? I think there is. We're doing pretty good. Okay, so let's jump out and we'll take a look at one of the ways that we're using the views module. I'm not going to really do anything with it, but we're just going to take a quick look at it.
We're going to the faculty scholarship page.
Yeah, faculty highlights. Where is it? Nope, not faculty highlights. Darn, there's almost time for another fun fact. Okay, but we're here now.
Oh.
All right, this is the media guide, and basically, you know, it's a list of, well, it's not a list of nodes. In this case, it's a list of, well, that's a whole lot to get into, but it's a list. Okay. And this is created by views. And you'll notice that this area that's, boy, I'm not explaining this very well. But let's look at the view itself, the views page for this media guide. Now it's time for a fun fact.
Okay, but I think we're running out. Every week, 6 Drupal modules are euthanized. So sad. CDS administrators encourage developers to spay and neuter their novelty code. Oh, honestly.
These fun facts, by the way, are provided by Fun Facts on Drupal Facts on Twitter. Oh, dear. Okay, well, let's skip this particular demo because I didn't know if I was going to have time for it anyway. Sorry about that, you guys. Okay, let's get back to one of our main topics.
Squirrels.
Now, the squirrel is, I had to know because, you know, I'm an old school girl, and I had to know what is the animal on the O'Reilly book for Drupal. And it's a squirrel. It's so cute. Okay. So we've talked about nodes, we've talked about blocks, we attempted to talk about views. Bottom line is that if you just can't find where that little piece of text is hiding, you can be reassured that it is somewhere in the database or somewhere in the file system. So, and I'll admit this, I've done this before. You can always go to the root of the web server and grep the entire root directory for that string, and if it's not there, then you know it's in the database. So it narrows it down a little bit.
Just a little, just a skosh.
So basically, well, these slides, see, these were at the end. I didn't think we'd get to them. So things will break.
It's inevitable. It's just the fact that you're going to be experimenting. You're new with this, but it will happen, and it might not even be used. One of your users, I'm going to let Secretary X edit content in this corner of the website. Get the email. Oh no! What did you do, Secretary X? Yeah. But there are things you can do to minimize that, or to really make sure it doesn't get too out of control after that.
Yeah. That's actually more of a user training issue.
That too.
But for you guys, set up a development server. Oh yeah, that's actually very important. Or like a test site where you actually can break things. You may need more than one. One that exactly mirrors your live web server, and then one for like something new that you're playing around with that would change the entire
new
thing.
Versions of Drupal. Play with new versions of modules.
Again, I'm just sort of breezing through these administration topics because our administrator handles this. But run cron, check your logs. A little basic troubleshooting. If something isn't appearing that you just typed in there and you're like, why is this not changed? Clear the cache. And you can use Watchdog.
Which is a bit of code.
I don't know if you're like me, but I used to do a lot of print statements in my code so I could see, okay, what is this variable doing at this time? And but Watchdog is great because you can just have your print statements print to the log, and you can look at it right in your web browser.
This intrigues you any further? You can talk to us after the presentation.
Or find somebody who knows more. That would be even better. So you may have noticed there's a lot of Drupalisms, a lot of terminology. It takes a while to get used to doing things the Drupal way. And
but seriously, don't hack core.
Yeah, don't hack core. Again, this is beyond the scope of this presentation, but keep your code in modules. Don't put them in the template files like I do. Put modules in the right place. Implement version control. We're going to get around to this someday. And to learn more, where to turn when you need help. Google, of course. When I Google a particular question, I pay attention to the hits that are on Drupal.org and Stack Overflow, which does just some quality stuff. You can ask the Drupal community. There's users groups, there's conferences, there's us. If
you're not on Technoids.
Yeah, get on Technoids, listen to Elmer. And a couple awesome books that I can recommend that are not on this piece of paper. There's we'll get to that later. A lot of resources.
Lullabot.
Lullabot.com. There's just a ton of resources. Drupal.org is huge. It has not only where you can download modules, but a lot of questions asked and answered. Do you guys
you're
have
not the
any
first
questions?
person that broke it. There will be.
We finished kind of early, so discuss amongst yourselves or
questions
what's
for
up?
us?
Oh no! Oh, yeah, that'll happen. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
When you're talking about override, are you talking about in the strictest group sense, like from a language point of view, or is there a Drupal term for overriding something? Am I using like an abstract method implementation?
My simplified understanding of it is that if you like, for instance, with the themes, if you see a theme you like, don't edit the theme that's in your core themes directory. Copy it, put it in your custom themes directory, and hack at that. There's more. That's too simplified. There's more about overriding functions. Actually, yeah, Drupal has this whole huge hook system, and to be honest, I'm just learning all about that. Boy, I had another good note about that. But
it also has to do with part of it with CSS as well. When you're trying to change the functionality with that, is you can actually override some of the CSS by placing your own version of the CSS file out of the template. But okay.
Yeah, there's something very good in there in your question. So let me see if I can find it.
Any further questions? Or we can be the... Oh.
You said earlier that you were command line.
Yes.
I saw also the list of
Drush. I'm just learning about Drush. That's actually really handy, apparently. Oh, okay.
It kind of freaks me out, but there's so many good things about it. So
Yeah.
I'm doubting a little bit, but
The only thing you do with Drush is when you do something that breaks Drupal and you get that stupid white screen thing, and you run Drush to start everything up again, you get error messages. The reason why your website is
I like it. That's a good tip.
In case the stream didn't get that.
How do you spell that?
Drush. I'll write it.
We heard if it crashes and you just don't know what's going on, you run Drush, you actually get the error code, which is invaluable. Just
That sounds awesome.
Being able to hunt that down if I...
Can anyone speak to that overriding core Drupal functions? Yeah, but hey, building pro Drupal development, second edition for Drupal 6.
Drupal 7 version is not go with that. You need to have an updating beforehand.
Pro Drupal development is the one for 6? Okay, I'm writing that down too. Yes, I've got it. I'm just diving in.
As far as overriding core functions, you don't actually do that. Like you mentioned, hook actually
That's it.
works in.
Yeah.
It allows modules to attach itself to
Yeah.
the entire process of displaying the page.
Yeah. I can't speak to. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You had.
It's very long and rather arcane.
Yeah. I can speak to one little thing about the functions in Drupal. They're kind of magically named. So, like, if you just make up a function, if it's named correctly, Drupal will recognize it and call it. So, did anybody else have a comment? Any questions on anything else that we can't answer?
Yeah, what's the difference between 6 and 7?
Oh, a lot. Actually, I'm playing with 7 just barely. It looks really slick. I mean, from what I've heard about it on podcasts, and it sounds like it's going to be lovely. And as Patty pointed out in an earlier presentation, there are some really key modules that aren't ready yet for 7, but they probably will be soon. So.
Is anyone running Drupal without MySQL? Like PostgreSQL?
Anyone here? No?
Are you like run PostgreSQL to take away database?
Yeah.
Well, they say Drupal runs on just about anything, so
Yeah.
I would be impressed.
Well,
Back in the day, there was this weird, crazy module that tried to hack it. This was like way back in the day. We tried to hack it so that Drupal would work off flat files.
What? Yeah. I think you can still do that. I don't know for sure. Well, again, thank you all for being here. Seriously, I learned so much, just preparing for this, and so I'm ready to go home and dive in and do a lot more coding. You looked like you had a question. No? Okay. Anybody
Thank
else?
you all. Well,
yeah. All right. Well, thanks for your attention. All right. We can get out of here. We're out of fun facts.
we are out of fun facts.
We use them all.
I don't bring my laptop because I did want to add my stuff into it, but there's a lot of good stuff here.
Oh, good, man. Well, we'll post this too, and maybe edit it before we post it. Oh, good. Yeah.
Mention printout statements.
Yeah.
Magical function.
Yeah.
DPM, DPR, and I think there's a DPD or something like
Yeah.
that. Use those and I print out little nice green.
I'm gonna. Oh, that's right. There, I've heard of that. Shoot.
Do the long version Drupal set message.
I don't have my. Do you have a business card? Oh, no, that doesn't matter. I've got. Let's see. I was gonna say send me an email with it. No. I was just looking for a pen. I want to write. I don't need to be on. Good, man. Good.
But those